Okay. Fucking hell.
Okay, so your Facebook's online.
Okay, so now share the Facebook to
Why is
Mom.
the smoke? Oh, no, that's not smoking. Okay, good. I was like, don't tell me there's a fire now.
The only thing is we have the wrong person.
Yeah.
What are you doing, honey?
Still checking the stream.
Oh, okay.
You,
He's going to check just to make sure it's working. Did you start the stream yet, Dakota?
I did. It's on Mom's Facebook now, and I'm checking her YouTube right now.
Okay.
And you're gonna share it to Mari's from my Facebook.
All right.
Yeah.
She said she started it, so it should be on my YouTube, right? He doesn't see it yet. I'm having him check. I don't know if I can check.
Yeah, I'm turning off here.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yep, and
Yikes.
it's up
Scary.
on Mom's.
I think it's the right one. We did a couple test runs, so
Right.
okay. And then if you streamed it, sent a link to my Facebook, I should find that there, or
Yeah, let me do that for you now. I checked your YouTube off of my mom's phone, and the stream's up.
awesome.
Let's see.
All right, so complicated. Oh my goodness.
I know, it's much easier just talking to dead people.
It's so much, thank goodness for the kids, because I'm just, I can't do all this. It's just too stressful. It's working. Okay, I got a thumbs up.
Oh, we got it.
Hold on, I'm trying to get it to Mari's Facebook now.
Yeah, I was checking that. Yeah, you can just do it to my regular, the Mari Cartagenova medium one. Maybe that one's better. I don't know. I don't know where I find it. If would be on notifications or where.
I would probably, what I have to do, I think, is I have to send in Messenger the link, and then you'll have to post the link to your Facebook.
Okay.
So I just sent it to you over Facebook Messenger.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
We actually had this all ironed out, and then we did a couple of things a little bit differently, and now we're lost. So forgive us as we're squeaking the technical difficulties. Thank God for the younger generation.
Did you receive it in Messenger?
I think I did. I'm trying to post it. So let me just check if it's on there. Yeah, I think it's working. Oh my goodness, miracle.
And
Thanks,
I got
Spirit.
it, and I got it to your
Yeah.
private group.
Okay, awesome. So welcome everybody. And Dakota,
Thank
before
you,
you go,
Dakota. Give me 1 second. I gotta close my
if
door
people
here.
are gonna message, where do I see it?
Like, oh, you mean on Restream?
Yeah, I don't want them to, but where are we gonna see it?
If you want to, I can also disable the chat so they have to chat in here. if you
Yeah,
want.
check the Facebook, but I think it's working.
It would be here,
Okay. All right,
but most people. Oh, okay. Here we go.
super. So
You would just have to flip between Safari and Zoom just to check the chat every once in a while.
I see what you're saying. Okay,
So just
thanks.
click on
I've
Safari.
learned something. Okay, you are never too old to learn, which kind of coincides with one of the principles of spiritualism. Redemption is always available.
Okay.
So I think we should begin.
Good. All right.
Okay, so I'm going to welcome everybody who's watching in the Zoom room. I'm going to encourage, if you're watching, if you want to join the Zoom room, that would be awesome. It's easier for us to communicate with you that way if you have questions. And that would be Zoom room number 895-4254-3943, password spirit. And you can still just watch us in the stream if you'd like, but it's easier for us to interact with you if you're in the Zoom room. And if you just turn your video off, you're not going to be videotaped. So I'd like to introduce my co-host and good friend and colleague, Mari, Medium Mari. And she's also a fantastic animal communicator. So Mari, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, everybody, for putting up with all the technical difficulties. It's, it's a brave new world for us, and especially, without the kids, I don't think I could manage it at all. I can barely work any of this equipment. But thank you for being here. Like Winter said, Winter is an amazing medium and animal communicator, and I do the same work. I love connecting with spirit, and in my previous lifetime, in this lifetime, but before I did this work, I was a therapist. I'm still a licensed therapist. So I really like helping people heal, and helping people connect with their loved ones and pets is certainly a very healing experience. And I think today, Winter, we're here to talk about connecting with your animals, right?
Absolutely. Tonight, this month's topic is animal communication, but all realms, because you can not only connect and communicate with your incarnate, that's the technical name, being in the flesh, but you can also communicate with your pets after they've crossed the rainbow bridge. It's just a form of spirit communication. Most people associate it with connecting with grandma on the other side, but guys, you can also connect with your pets on the other side. And Mari does a lot of animal communication work. So part of today's show, we're going to do our pull the card for the month. We're going to talk about steps, or give you tips to communicate with your incarnate. And it's pretty much the same process with a little bit of tweak to try to connect with your pets on the other side. Or also, if you watch your current pets and they seem to be looking at something that's not there, and you've ruled out mosquitoes, it could be that they're connecting with your pets from the other side who have come to visit. And I shall assure you that they visit as often, if not more so, than grandma. So one thing I'd like to share, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go roll with it, Mari. I'm on a roll.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. And if I'm looking down, it's because I'm trying to toggle between the YouTube and the Facebook to see if there's any questions. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to catch up.
Don't question on YouTube. Yeah. I'm not that organized. So anyway, when I've put my pets down, because this is usually the most traumatic experience for any pet owner, and it's always rolled up with a lot of grief, and pet owners can be scarred for years, having to put their beloved pet down. I just want to share with you that there's always someone from spirit. So I had a dog, a Sheltie, and I knew it was time. He was very sick, and the time had come. And when I finally got to the vet, my parents from spirit was showing up all day, and my mother was holding an empty leash. So that was my validation that it was time. And when I brought him to the vet, he was in my lap, and he went to pass out of the body. I saw his little spirit body pass out, and he went right into my mom's arms. My dad was with her, and they took him off. So he went from my hands to theirs. And the same thing happens with your pets. Other times, my last pet I put down was my elderly cat. And now my vet comes to the house. So we're gathered on the dining room table, and she gave my cat, something that he loved to eat. And cat, what do they call it? Cat crack, I think. And all of a sudden, all my deceased pets, led by the first cat I had that I had to put down a few years earlier, he came in, Jasper, followed by Wizard and my Sheltie that my parents had caught for me, and a whole bunch, Murphy. They all came and they gathered around Griffin, my tabby cat. I had to put down because he was done, and it was actually quite moving. So, my Griffin, I'm sure, knew the pets from my past because they visited. So I know I started out with a glum topic, but that's the area that the people struggle with the most, I find. And I think it gives a little relief to know that your pet isn't simply going into the unknown. Even me thinking about my pet going into a field and running free, but without anybody, I was like, "Ugh." But here it is. I've had it both where the pets showed up for them or my humans. So I'm going to send that one right over to sharing my story and send it right over to Maury to see where she wants to go.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story, Winter. I mean, I've had similar experiences with, excuse me, got a little cold happening today, so forgive me. That whenever spirit comes in, usually my nose starts to run and it's not pretty, so forgive me. But I've had I've had similar experiences as well, with when my animals cross. I see other animals that sort of come and lead the way, as well. But for me, a lot of times when my animals have crossed over, and fortunately or unfortunately, I've had a number of them in the house cross as well. And they're still here. So especially when your animal crosses and it's fresh and new, even if you're not a medium, even if you're just a regular person who's really a regular person, but you can see their spirit sort of walking around. Or if you don't see them, maybe you'll feel them, or you might get a smell or something, or like a shiver down your spine, because their spirit is still very much here with you, wherever they're crossing. Like, I know for me, after one of my cats died, I would see him walking around the house, but like on the same day. And then sometimes over time it gets a little less, and I still see him occasionally. But there's something special, and I've talked to a million pet owners and clients that have had the same experience, that right after they're crossing, it's like their spirit has left, but it's still a little bit here. And it's a lot easier to sort of pick up on that, with whether it's visually, scent, feeling, sort of feel them still around you. And I always feel like that's a way that they want to let you know, like, I'm okay. I've left my body. I'm not in pain anymore, but I'm still with you, and I'm not going to leave you. I'm not like, poof, I'm gone. And, you have your funeral or, ceremony, whatever you have, and that's it. They are still very much with you. And I think that's important for people to understand. And especially, again, that time right after they're crossing, whether it's the first couple days, the first week, just be on the lookout for whether it's a spark of light, or if you see something out of the corner of your eye, or you feel something brush up against you. Just know that that is your pet, because they want to let you know, look, I'm okay. And you don't need to be a medium or be in this line of work to get that feeling. Because again, I've talked to so many people that have had that experience. And it's their way of comforting you. It's almost like they were here during their whole lifetime on earth to comfort you. And even in their crossing, they're still trying to comfort you. And even after, honestly, because they're still coming through in a variety of ways, which Winter and I can talk about. But just know that in that first, say, week or so, they're definitely around you in some form, trying to let you know, I'm here, I'm okay. And I hope that's helpful for, anybody that has a pet that's going to be crossing soon, or has just recently crossed, because clearly, when you're in that moment and they've crossed, I know myself, I was completely hysterical, because we had one of our cats that died very unexpectedly, and it was not good. Even though I do this for work, I'm still a human being, actually, and it was so stressful, and it was really scary. But the fact that I was able to pick up on him after, in the next day or so, I was like, okay, yes, what happened was not good. The way it happened was not good. but I know you're okay. I know you're still with us. And even the spot where he crossed energetically, my other cats don't want to like go near it. Like they'll go near the spot, but they'll go around it or they'll jump over it or because they know that his energy is still there. And that gives me a lot of comfort. And so, I just sort of wanted to share that with everybody. It felt pertinent, and I'm assuming, Winter, you've had the similar experience in terms of seeing them or feeling them just after.
Yeah, my black cat, Jasper, uh, he got very, very sick. We still don't know why. We tested him for everything, and it was like within 5 weeks, boom. And he was at the vet where, to be put down. And all of a sudden, you know, Lauren, my vet, gave him the shot. And then I was holding him. And it was a blend, what mediums call, when we blend with spirit, their energy blends with ours. It was one of the deeper blends I'd ever experienced. And I can't explain. It was the most enlightening, majestic experience I had ever had. Um, for the circumstances that triggered this experience is awful. I was losing my beloved black cat. He was my cat. He wouldn't go near anyone else. But when he finally passed and his spirit just blended with mine, it was the most magical experience, and it moved me beyond. I'm at a loss of words, which is not frequent, to describe the magnificence of that experience. So, one of the things spirit does with me is uses animals to teach me about metaphysics. And it was through my connections with animals that I learned about telepathy, and I've learned about astral projection, and the animals can do that too. I learned about blending of souls and personality traits. I had a white cat that spirit sent me to go get. All of a sudden I didn't have cats. I had the two cats then, but I had this overwhelming need to find a white cat, this particular white cat. First one I looked at, nope, that's not her. And then I went to the little shelter and they had this white cat that was extremely arthritic, missing most of its teeth. It had been abandoned in a kill shelter. Little shelters are not for profit, no kill animal rescue. And they took it from the kill shelter and they had it in their ICU, and it kept getting beat up by this other cat. And I said, that's my cat. I have to get this cat. Spirit told me to get this cat. I used to have to hand feed it with my finger. I had to give it shots every day. I had it for a couple of months. Cat stayed upstairs, very majestic cat. She moved into my bedroom. Everybody moved out. Well, she came downstairs one day and jumped in the carry case. I kind of was like, oh, she's ready to go to spirit. Okay. And I made an appointment. I said, I just made the appointment to take her to the vet. But when we got there, the vet determined she was bleeding internally. And again, she could have been 15, 16, 17 years old. So this was not a cat. She was down to 7 pounds, and I'm giving her these injections. So it wasn't a cat that could undergo a surgery or anything. So the vet barely gets the needle in her, and boom, she was out of her body. And this spirit shows up, this old lady, and her spirit jumps into the old lady's arms. And the lady says to me, thank you for taking care of my cat. So what I surmised from that, and the thing is, I called her Isis, because when I first took her, I was asking spirit, what's the cat's name? And I kept getting the S sound. So I'm driving home and the lady in spirit pops in and goes, Princess. Her name was Princess. So I surmised that this old lady maybe passed away or went into a rehab type of nursing home. The family didn't want to take care of the cat. They dumped the cat. She wasn't in spirit yet, maybe wasn't ready for the cat. And then spirit had somebody like me adopt the cat. And then when that lady was ready to receive her cat in spirit, that's everything happened. That's what I suspect. So, because if she was already waiting for the cat, I suspect spirit wouldn't have sent me on this search to find this white cat. But
Wow.
anyway, so that's a lovely story because it shows that there are other actors, even the ones you don't know. I never met this woman before, that may come into and help your pets after you pass or are unable to help them. So
Exactly. No, that is a really beautiful story, Winter. And it's like we don't see how the world is put together. You know, I don't know if I gave this example on our last show, but I use it quite often as for anybody that knows about needlepoint, you know, if you have any grandmothers that ever used to do needlepoint, you know, we in life, I feel like only see the back of the needlepoint. And the back of the needlepoint is, you know, all the knots and the threads going everywhere. And it looks like a colossal mess. And you're like, what is this thing? And I only feel like it's after we cross that we can turn it around and see the front of the needlepoint and see the whole picture, because we as humans aren't really privy to that. And that's why we're like half the time, this doesn't make any sense. Why am I doing this? Why is this happening? Why is this not working out? It's because just remember it's the back of the needlepoint and we aren't privy to the front and to the whole story. And maybe that will, you know, help some people, because it does get very frustrating, but you know, in the end, all the things come together like Winter was talking about with that beautiful story, and it does make sense at some point.
I love that example. Can I
You
use
love that?
that? I think it's
You can. You
awesome.
just have to give credit to my Nana, because my Nana was the one that did all the needlepoint, and you know, I would see these. I have many beautiful ones hanging in the house, but when she would show me or she was working on, I'd see the back, and I'd be like, "Ugh, that's a mess. Like, what is that, Nana?" She's like, "Oh no, it's just the back. You can't see it. It's only till you turn it over that you see it's a vase or you know whatever it is." So,
Oh, I love that.
yeah.
Thank you, Mari's Nana.
Oh, yeah. No, you're welcome. And I thought maybe, Winter, we could talk a little bit about some quick tips for people that might be interested in connecting to their own animals.
Absolutely. And I'm going to let you lead off on that.
Okay, no problem. So, I mean, obviously, this isn't a whole animal communication class, and you know, we could do this for like 3 weeks and talk about how you do it. But I just wanted to give a few quick tips for people that are watching or people that might be interested. I know that Winter and I both do classes, do animal communication classes or mediumship classes. I do mentorship also, if it's something you want to delve more deeply into. But, you know, a couple of the tips I always like to give if you want to connect to your animal, the first thing I always tell people is you want to ask them. And I think that's a step that's missed very frequently. People just sort of dive into their energy or into their aura, and they're like, "Wait, back it up, lady," you know. So I think the first thing is just to say, "Hey," and you can do this, you know, telepathically with your mind. I tend to work more from my heart space, my heart chakra. Just sort of send that energy out, you know, say to Fluffy, Fluffy the dog. And I sort of send that energy out and say, "Hey, Fluffy, is it okay if we connect? Is that all right?" Because they're beings just like we are. And I feel like a lot of times people miss that step, is you want to ask their permission. I mean, I've never had an animal say no. So, I mean, I guess it's possible, you know, if they're not really feeling it, but just say, "Hey, is it okay if I connect with you?" And, you know, usually the answer is yes. And in terms of prepping yourself for connecting with an animal, you don't have to go meditate for half an hour, you know, just try to get yourself into a centered space. A very quick thing that I tell people to do is just sort of take that in breath up. And as you take the in breath, sort of allow this ball of light to reach the top of your head. And as you're exhaling, allow that ball of light to roll down the back of your head, roll down your neck, roll down your spine, all the way to the earth. And just by doing that, which is literally 20 seconds, you can do it a couple of times, it sort of brings you down back into your body, because that's where you want to be, to sort of receive messages and send out messages. You don't want to be up here like you're thinking about your grocery list or what do I have to do this weekend. That's not really the communication space. So get yourself into a centered place, either with a meditation, walk outside, grounding. You could take a bath, anything that works for you. So once you breathe, you get into your centered space, you've asked the animal permission. There's a couple different ways. Some people like to work telepathically, which Winter was talking about, and I can sort of let her talk about more, which is sort of sending images and pictures to the animals, because they receive things in that way. For me personally, I just sort of put my energy out there and I say, like, hey, what's going on? You know, the animal doesn't answer back that way, because people always say to me, how do the animals talk to you? Are they saying, hey, Mari, it's really great and I'm loving my life here? No, they don't answer that way, but I just sort of introduce myself as me. And then they usually send me for me. Again, if anyone's ever seen me before, I'm very clairvoyant, so I see things energetically. So if I'm looking over here, it's because spirit is dropping images in for me. So you would need to communicate in whatever way works for you. If you see pictures, that's great. If you're just hearing things, that's another way. If you're getting a feeling. So introduce yourself, ask permission, introduce yourself, and put it out there and see what you get back. You could say, hi, Fluffy, how are you feeling today? And you might get a color. You might get a color blue, and then you can interpret, what does blue mean to you? You know, it could be sad for some people. It could be, you know, if it's a turquoise, maybe it's like an ocean, and it's, you know, it's really, your interpretation depends on what is coming in for you. Your interpretation would not be my interpretation. So whatever information is coming in for you, whether it's hearing, seeing, feeling, a knowingness, a feeling in your part of the body, maybe you say, hey, Fluffy, what's going on? And you start getting like a shoulder pain. You get like, oh, I didn't have this before. And then that's their animal sending energy back to you to say, oh, maybe my shoulder, maybe this top part of my body is bothering me a little bit. And maybe you as the pet parent might want to investigate that a little bit. So that's just a quick couple of tips. I don't want to take over the whole thing, but I wanted to see, Winter, what you had to add to that, and also maybe talk about telepathy a little bit more.
So the other thing, the one that you missed was tasting too.
Yes, absolutely. You could taste
Because
as
one
well.
of the first things when I was starting out, somebody put a question online. They didn't know what to feed their new adopted rescue dogs. And all of a sudden I'm tasting pot roast and gravy. And I don't know, I got Alpo or something. Apparently
Ew.
that worked. So, because they didn't know what the dog was eating before. But yeah, so tasting as well, if you can use that. As far as telepathy goes, it can come through just like they're having a conversation with you. Now, you should remember that they are incarnate as their particular animal that they've chosen to incarnate as. So, you know, they are going to be limited by that animal's limitations if you're connecting with them on that level. If that makes any sense. If I blend with a bear, I just want to eat fish. I blended with a bear at the zoo. We have a little ecological zoo on Long Island for animals that can't go in the wild, back in the wild. And I just wanted to feel like, I wanted to feel what it felt like to be a bear. So all I knew is I wanted to eat fish, and we had to have fish that night, regardless of what the planned dinner was, because that bear loved to eat fish. Now, I was blending because I wanted to see how that bear felt in the bear's state of being a bear. It's different. If we're blending with them in a little higher state, we also have translators up in the world of spirit. They kind of translate. So one prime example was I was in bed one night, in the middle of the night. I was half asleep, half awake, and I hear quite clearly, intruder. intruder alert. And my eyes popped open. I'm looking around and I heard it again. And I honestly, because I was just waking up middle of the night, and I honestly thought it was spirit telling me somebody had broken into the house. So I jump out of bed. I wrestled my new dog, Magic. We used like two. It's a big dog. It's 125 pounds. And I said, come on, there's a burglar. Let's go. And I start going down the stairs to go after this intruder spirit. Clearly told me was in the house, right? I have to protect my child. Doesn't matter if I probably couldn't do anything with him, but I do have a 125-pound dog. So between the two of us, we'll be okay. And I get down the stairs. I don't see anyone, putting the lights on, and the dog goes running to the back door. Oh, they must be in the yard trying to break in. So I opened the door and the dog went running, and I realized it's a full moon and it was very illuminated in my backyard. And it dawned on me at that moment, there's not an intruder. The dog must have seen a leaf or a bat or something fly by. It's pretty light out, even though it's 2 a.m. It was the dog being alert, seeing something, a shadow fly by in the backyard, wake me up. And I learned that my dog was extremely telepathic at that point. So it can come across that way. I mean, it didn't, I've had conversations like Dr. Dolittle in the movie where the animal is like literally talking to me as it, they depict it in that movie. And I've had other conversations where it might just be 1 or 2 words. When I first got Magic, had him on his back. He was between 12 to 14 months old when I got him. He was a rescue, and I'm brushing his belly, and I distinctly heard him say to me, "You're not afraid of me," because at that point he was 80 pounds. So I suspect when he got put up for adoption, somebody was afraid of him. But it was a quiet voice in my head. Now, the night he woke me up, that was a clear on voice. It was almost like direct voice for those of you that are familiar with physical mediumship. It felt outside the head as if he were talking with a regular human voice loudly. So it came, very differently than most of the time when you hear clairaudience, whether it's spirit or telepathy, it sounds like it's coming from inside your head. And it's usually normal volume. It's not elevated or, even whisper. So there was this distinct difference that night. So they are capable when you're talking, if you want to communicate telepathically, it can be a stream of conversation. It can be a single word, or it can be they send a thought or an image, like Mari said with the clairvoyance. And I've also received that way, and then also feeling. And again, it could be when they're on the other side giving me proof, or if I'm tuned in because I want to see how, like right now, the same dog Magic, he's like 9, more or less. He's starting with the hips. So I monitor his hip pain, especially with the rainy weather in April. And I'll just tune in and see how he's feeling, So there's quite a lot of reasons to want to develop animal communication, not only being closer to your pet on a totally different level, but being able to communicate with them more clearly as to what their needs are. Because sometimes, pets are like certain people. They can be in a lot of pain and not express it, whereas you get another pet would be like another person who is like constantly complaining about their pain. It's like my little Pomeranian. He's always yapping about something. Yep. But my big old Great Pyrenees, he's just a stoic big dog. So, but yeah, it's, I got to encourage people, if you have pets, try to develop your ability to communicate with them on another level, psychic or mediumship. It gives the relationship a whole new dimension. If you don't have pets, I really encourage you to get a pet. You know, if you're allergic to furries, try a reptile. Whatever pet out there you can communicate with. And I know it's off topic a little bit, but if you just absolutely don't want any pets, I mean, even goldfish can communicate. And they're so pretty to look at, but maybe you don't want to have a tank to clean or whatever. Plants can communicate. They can, and you can get it. To me, it's not as strong as the animals, but it is, you know, they do talk to me. So, you could develop that as well. And it's going to add dimension to your own experience on Earth. So.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. And I was going to say, not everybody wants a pet for obvious reasons, because, you know, you do have to take care of them. But there are lots of groups on Facebook that you can practice animal communication. I don't remember the names of them, but they're animal communication something group. If anyone's interested, reach out. I can suss those out for you. But so you don't even really need a pet if it's something you want to practice. And the other thing is I wanted to add is that people always say, well, how do I know if I'm not making it up? It's like you do need your imagination in order to do this work. Like if you completely cut your imagination off, it would be very hard to do this work. But it's really a matter of trust. And it's like anything else. The more you do it, the more you're going to know that it's the animal versus you. For me, I like to tell people if it's coming from up here in your head and you're feeling anxious and worried, it's probably not the animal. It has to be more body-centered, more heart-centered, and to sort of feel like it's coming in from outside as opposed to you're thinking it up in your head. But what I encourage people to do is just practice. And if you want to go to some of these groups on Facebook, you can practice on your friends' pets, or like Winter was saying, plants. Absolutely. You can connect with plants or trees outside. Just sort of put that energy out there energetically and see what you get back. Again, it could be a feeling, it could be a color, it could be a shape. It doesn't have to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing and I love it. You know, it doesn't have to be anything big. You got to start somewhere. Some people will say, oh, I just got a squiggly line. It's like, okay, well, hold on to that for now and see what happens next time. And the more you do it, the more you build. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I hope that makes sense. But this is just sort of the cliff notes of animal communication from the both of us.
Okay, and I just want to add, I do have a private Facebook group, Psychic and Mediumship Development Practice Group by Winter Brook. We have about 800 people in it. I do screen everyone. I don't admit everyone. If you want to join that group, the people in the group are practicing and their own development. There's 3 practice groups that meet weekly. There's no cost. And you can also, make a post and say, hey, I'd like to practice animal communication. I'm available 9 to 11 on Saturday. Is there Eastern Standard? Because we have people from all over the world. Is there anybody who could practice with me? Okay. It's not a free reading group, but the people will practice. You can practice reading theirs and they can practice reading yours. So I just wanted to add that. Now, we were going to pull the card and then, we do have a question. Susan Porto wants to know if we give classes on animal communication. So Mari, do you want to start with your answer?
Yes, I do. I've just been so busy that I haven't put one up recently, but I'm hoping to in the fall. Like I said, I do run my mentorships all year long, and that's a little bit more, not a bigger commitment, but I run a mentorship that's either 4, 8, or 12 sessions, I think. I don't know. I have to check my own website. I'm not even sure what I'm doing half the time. But, and that is a one-on-one mentorship, and that is geared exclusively to the client, whatever it is they're looking to learn, whether it's animal communication, mediumship, psychic, or intuitive work. and we work together one-on-one. That's a little bit more of an extensive practice because it's a mentorship. But I do offer animal communication classes. I haven't had one in a couple of months, and probably in the fall I'll have one. But I absolutely do offer them, and it's fun. It's something fun I like to do. And just a quick shout out to a friend of mine. She is actually doing, I think it's an animal communication or getting to know your animals. My friend Catherine Grace is doing something tonight on, I think it's on Zoom. And I think it's like $20 if you go to her page, Catherine Grace. She's an amazing animal communicator. And if you want to do something tonight, I know that's available. So yeah, absolutely I do. And I know Winter does like a million classes, right?
Yes, actually, I'm teaching animal communication tonight.
Oh, okay.
but it's unfortunately it's a closed class. It was a 6-week development class, and tonight's topic is animal communication. So we're going to touch on it, not go as in depth as we would on a 6 or 8 week focus class. But yes, I do usually incorporate animal communication in my development classes. So I haven't even actually put up classes yet. Just finishing up this rotation. I think I'm going to take a month off because my daughter's graduating and moving from med school. So, and then maybe do something over the summer, but I haven't listed because I don't know if I could wait till fall, Mary. But I am doing a lot of privates too. So I'm doing everything online right now. May I pull the card this month?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And then we're going to see if anyone has, I'm going to pull a card for everybody. And then we're going to see if anybody brought pictures that's in the Zoom room. So I am picking from the Animal Tarot deck by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Valentine being one of my favorite names because that's my dad's name. And the back of the card is a little kitty cat, looks like a Siberian. 5 of Summer. Oh, this is so nice. And we've got yellow flowers with the dragonfly. And it is about the dragonfly. And it says, focus upon the fact that God loves you and always has the highest of intentions for you. A positive outlook makes it easier to recover from life's little difficulties so that you can move onward and upward. I think that's a lovely card to pull, and it's meant to be for everybody tuning in, even if you're watching the recording. So it's a very positive card. We have lots of astrological high points coming up, and we'll have opportunities to bring in universal energy to assist us. So definitely focus on positive outcomes for what you want to create in your life. And the energy is going to assist you despite the chaos our world is currently undergoing. Okay, so we have some people in the Zoom room, which is always much easier to read. And does anybody have a picture? Marie.
Yes, this is Amber.
Amber. And is Amber living or crossed over?
She's with us. She's on the other plane.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, it's interesting as thank you for showing me the picture. I appreciate it. I don't know if it's okay if I go first, Winter.
No,
it's interesting as I'm gonna pin your picture if I can figure out how to do that. There we go. Technology, not my friend. Sweet Amber, it's interesting because I'm getting with her, it's almost like a dual feeling I'm getting. I'm getting a little anxiety with her, but I'm almost feeling like that when she responds to that, it almost could be a little bit aggressive. Do you understand that? Because it feels like I start out kind of worried and then like I might like go at you or swipe at you or my response isn't necessarily run away and hide. It feels more like stay away from me. Like, do you understand that piece?
She does that with the other cats. Yes, I can accept that.
Because I get like there's like that a little fear-based stay away from me as I'm sort of connecting with her, but I don't really feel like that's her energy at all. Like I feel like she's saying like I'm a good girl, like I'm a sweet girl. It's just that, I'm not really sure about other people. Like, is she your cat? I'm feeling like she's like a one-person cat. She only wants to be with one person, and everybody else she's just like not going to deal with, is the feeling that she's giving me. And she's also showing me her nails. I don't know if there's some piece about that she doesn't want like to have her nails clipped, or some piece about the nails she's making me aware of. Do you understand
I'm
that?
always telling her not to claw the furniture. Yeah.
Okay, because she's showing me the nails like
Mhm.
sticking out, and I'm like, do they need cutting? And so this is what I was talking about with communication. It's like they show me things, I see things, and I don't always understand. Like, does it mean they need to be cut? Does it mean she's clawing something? So there's some piece about that. Because she's talking about that. Did you move? And did there something change in the house? Because she's making me aware of something, either a toy or something that she like used to be in one area and now it's not.
Not recently. I'll have to think about that.
Okay, because she's showing me like an area of the house. I know there was like a structure, a climbing structure, or something that got moved or got changed in some way. Because she's telling me that there was something that she used to scratch that isn't there anymore. So I don't know if you have investigated like putting other scratching items in there for her. But she's telling me the
Over
thing
the
she
place.
liked to scratch. It may not be the thing that you wanted her to scratch, but she's telling me that the thing that she liked to scratch isn't in the same place, and it was like annoying her for some reason. I also feel like that she is very sensitive. And when things change, like whether you change a food or there's like a new member of the family, I feel like it affects her differently than it affects the other animals. You understand?
Yes. Mhm.
Because she just is very like, I don't want to say she's touchy, like, because, I have cats and animals and they're all kind of different. Some are kind of, yeah, whatever. And some are more like, yeah. And that's sort of the feeling that I get from her. Did you have a specific question that you wanted me to ask her, or were you just sort of looking to touch base with her?
Um, no, that's really good. I'm a communicator myself. I was just wondering what impressions you would have, and thank you so much. I
Oh yeah, no, my pleasure. I
appreciate
just
it.
sort of dive in and see what
She's
they're
a
telling
joy.
me, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I never know.
She's a real joy spirit. She's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Like she definitely has a lot of energy, but sometimes I feel like she doesn't even know what to do with it. And then there's that. She does have a little bit of that stay away from me vibe. So it does feel like that she really picks her people and like what she wants to do. She's not
Mhm.
a yeah, whatever, like, some cats are. She's more like, no, I'm going to choose and I'm going to pick and I will let you know.
True.
So good. I
Thank
hope that
you.
was helpful. Yeah, no, my pleasure. I just wanted to, I don't know if Winter, I'm sure Winter has probably something to add, and thank you I'm glad you had a picture.
I'm just going to say thanks for coming, Marie, today and bringing a picture of her. I do concur with Mari that you've moved something and she's annoyed about it. She wants it put back.
Yeah.
And I think it was something in the bedroom in a corner. But
I've seen the corner. Yep.
yep. So just for everybody to know, Marie is a fantastic, she's an animal communicator, but she's also a fantastic pet detective. And she's taught me a lot.
Thank
She
you.
was able to find my pet Freya, my cat, who got out one day over the past summer. So, and then she found a puppy of a friend in Norway who got lost in the forest there. So,
Thank you for
Ari also does that kind of work, but pet detective is kind of specific. There's Ruby.
The paw.
on
The
cue.
big paw is my polydactyl Maine Coon. So pet detective work, guys, is very specific. And one thing I learned through my experience with Freya getting out is don't put out a Facebook post, everybody look for the cat. Like Mari said, you're supposed to ask permission. You don't want your animal, cat or dog, being bombarded by 100 psychics saying, where are you? So it's these little nuances that would be best if you had a little training before you kind of jump into these areas. And Mari is also a very, very accurate pet detective, having found many lost pets. So, you know, if you come to me for a lost pet, my gut's going to say, here, let me refer you. That's what I did with Norway, because I want to find the pet more than I want. So that's just, I'm not a detective type person, so I defer to the other folks. But anyway, I want to go to now Suzanne Porto, and she has
You.
a photo. Let's see if I can. There's a black cat, and
cat.
Susan, you shared that the cat Jenks.
Squeaky.
Oh, Squeaky, and you shared that the cat has passed into spirit. Yes.
I didn't, but yes, he has.
Okay. Okay. So past Kitty, I that's what I thought you meant. All right. So the first thing I want to say is this cat is back to vim and vigor. When this was a younger cat, he had, you know, have cats have psycho hour?
Mm.
Okay. He had psycho hour like 6 times during your waking hours instead of just once or twice. This cat was always doing a crazy thing, and he'd race through the rooms, but he would do it much more than the typical cat. Would you understand that?
He was very, very enthusiastic. Yes.
And would you understand that he slowed down quite a bit as he got older?
A bit.
And because one of the things I want to tell you is he's racing through the rooms again, now that he is out of the physical body and he's just in his spirit body. I also feel that you have another pet at home.
He comes in and out. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay,
And,
but you have another physical pet, an incarnate
yes,
pet at home.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
because Squeaky was his name. I'm
Yes.
awful with names. He constantly is visiting your living pet. And I feel like he's a jokester, and he kind of runs up and gives him a little bite on the
yes.
tail or on the tush.
Yes.
I feel like he wants to go for his tail and his tush. And then your cat all of a sudden jumps like he, you know, it was like asleep, and then it was startled awake. And that's because Squeaky is horsing around. He wants to tell you that it's him that's licking the eyebrow. And I feel when he was here on Earth, he used to do a lot of that to wake you up. He was a very demanding cat that way in the morning. He would lick your eyebrows to get you to wake up. Do you recall that?
I don't recall that, but he was very affectionate. He did a lot of licking.
He did a lot of licking. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's showing me he's licking you now. And I just feel like I feel the sensation around my eyebrow, not in your eye, but like close.
Okay.
I get a lot of gratitude for you. You took very good care of him. You're his mommy. You called yourself mommy to this cat. So he knows you as mommy. And I also feel he was, I don't know how this translates to personality, but I kind of like this cat was like, my mommy, she's my mommy, like really proud. He would like strut around, almost giving off that, you know, the young Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin type of vibe.
Very possessive.
You tell I
yes.
have a 90-year-old staying with me. And I just feel like this cat is still doing that. And he loves to tell all the little spirit animals and peoples he knows. By the way, he is with your grandfather up in spirit. I feel that your grandfather was very fond of animals and had one of those like animal whisperer type energies with animals. Would you recall that about your grandfather?
No, but my father was a biggie.
Your father was. Okay, my apologies in case I got
okay. That's okay.
Let me get a little bit more. Your father had dark hair. He was about 5'11", and he had he wasn't skinny, but he had like a slender build, kind of like
and he did, but normally
okay. So and he had that animal whisperer type of personality, like animals just loved him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's where your cat's spending a lot of time.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. Anything to add? And we also have another person too.
Right. Well, yeah, Susan, can you just show me the picture again? Because I
Oh,
missed, I was
okay.
quick. And you
All
were
right.
kind of, I don't know if you're glitching or kind of glitching on my end, kind of coming in and out,
yeah,
which definitely
I,
could be my,
Thanks, Susan.
I'm sorry.
it's
Okay.
okay. It could be my Wi-Fi. I don't know, but
It's I'm a little bobulated, but that's new. Okay. Can you
yeah. And this is the name, and the name is
squeaky?
Squeaky. Oh,
Squeaky.
Squeaky. Very sweet. Yeah, it's interesting as I concur with what, thank you for that, with what, excuse me, with what Winter said, but it's interesting. I do feel like he was very powerful also in and of himself. Like he sort of like, I know who I am and like, you're you, but like, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, that's your problem, kind of. Like I'm getting a real like sense of confidence in this cat. And it's interesting because, a lot of the animals I come with don't really have that. They're sort of like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure. But he very much comes across, like Winter was saying, like the Frank Sinatra, but I'm even getting more like almost like an emperor, it's interesting. And as when I was connecting earlier, he kept showing me a diamond shape. And I'm not sure what that means, but he kept drawing a shape of a diamond. So I don't know if it means an actual diamond, something in the shape of a diamond, some piece about a diamond. And if it doesn't make any sense, just sort of hold on to it and let me know when you figure out what it is. But he kept dropping that into my energetic field. There is like that powerful piece about him. And I don't know why, but he keeps talking to me about like Egypt and ancient Egypt. And I don't know if you are like interested in like reincarnation and all that piece, but there's some piece about Egypt with him as well, whether he was worshipped almost, because like that's what he likes. He likes people to worship him. Like,
I did worship. Yeah, I worshipped him.
Well, but
He
not
was-
but not in an obnoxious way. But like, because some animals are just obnoxious, and I have one like that, and I understand. But he wasn't obnoxious. He was like,
No.
well, of course, like, of course you're gonna worship me. Like, yeah, like what else? Like, like it wouldn't even occur to him that it would be any other way. And so he sort of has that energy, and he keeps bringing me back to this Egyptian piece that's connected with him as well. But he's very regal. And of course, I still feel like he's very much still helping you from the other side. There's some piece about that. And I don't know whether you see him or feel him around you, but he keeps saying, he's like, I'm keeping watch on you, mama. I'm watching you, mama. And he wants you to know that he's still around you and he's helping you through this transition. He's talking about a transition time that you're going through. And he wants you to know that he's still very much there. And he's also sort of, it's interesting, he says, I'm looking out for intruders. I'm not sure what that means, but just making sure, it's almost like energetically he's circling you to sort of let you know, like, I'm keeping track to make sure nobody unsavory comes into your circle, if that makes sense to you. Because energetically, he wants to make sure that you're okay. And he's very much there. He's very connected with you. And he's like, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. So, and there's also a piece about turning the lights on and off in your house. That if it hasn't happened yet, if you haven't noticed, that's him. He's like, I'm just letting you know, I'm just messing with the lights. So, so yeah.
Can I just ask you?
Yeah,
can I ask you
sure,
quick?
of course. Yeah.
When he passed, was it because I wasn't really there. I was there, but not there. I don't know if that makes sense. I was there, but
right. And because you're breaking up a little bit, but I'm feeling in terms of his crossing. It does feel like, I don't know if it's like accidental in nature or something that wasn't like, obviously it was supposed to happen, but in some way it wasn't supposed to happen. So there was some mistake or some mishap or some piece related to his crossing. But he's like, Mom, it's like, he doesn't want you holding on to that guilt. He's like, no, because it's interesting because like, it's so weird. And I know I want to make sure that we get to this other person I know. But there's some piece about a soulmate piece. And it's almost like he was the king and you were the queen. And he doesn't want you to look at yourself any other way. So he doesn't want you to feel bad about whatever happened with the crossings. He's like, it wasn't your fault. I know you feel like it's your fault. It wasn't your fault. And he's saying like, you're still my queen. You're still, so don't lower yourself. There's some piece about that. So hopefully that makes sense to you. And thank you for letting me connect with him.
Thank you very much.
No, my
Thanks,
pleasure.
Maury.
Of
Okay,
course.
so
And Yeah, there was one more person, I think, right? Or I wasn't
Right.
following the whole
Yes.
stream.
Jan, and she's holding a photo up now.
Okay.
So I actually have three, but this is the one that I'm called to share today.
Okay. And what's the name of the kitty?
Chisel. Chisel. Chisel.
Chisel, like a chisel?
Yes. And
Oh,
he was named,
interesting.
he's a rescue, and that's the name he came with, and we kept it.
Interesting. Okay, great. Thank you. And he's crossed, is that correct?
Yeah, he's a Tonkinese. He's a cross between a Siamese and a Burmese.
No, I meant, is he still in the living or has he crossed
Oh,
over?
he's living. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's
Okay, no,
living.
all right. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Okay. And so
But
do you
he's
have a
connect-
particular, I'm sorry.
He is connected with a pet that passed.
Okay.
He's connected with a
What-
pet that passed.
Like a brother situation. I'm getting like
Correct.
something like that. So did you have a particular, because I know we're running out of time and I wasn't sure what else Winter, what you wanted to do, but is there a particular question that you want me to connect with him about, or?
Yeah, I mean, he's about 20 years old, and
Wow.
we are always concerned. Yeah, he's amazing. He's actually was my son's cat, but he's our cat. And we're always wondering, how he's doing, because obviously he's aging, and we really fuss over him and get him the heating pad that you put in the microwave, and he takes medication every day. But he seems to understand English, which is strange.
Of course.
So if
yeah.
he thing and we say to him, no, we're eating dinner right now, he'll just go wait. He'll accept that and he'll go wait. So he's kind of a unique guy, but I thought he might be interesting to read.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. And first, I want to say all of your animals understand English, so or whatever language you speak. And it's if it seems like they don't understand, it's not that they don't understand; it's that they don't care. So you might have to say something to them, and they're like, "Whatever, I'm not listening to you. This is me not caring." But no, absolutely, all the animals, no, because like like as my son would say, that sounds like a you problem. That's what some of the animals are like, because they're like, yeah, whatever, I'm not listening to you. But no, and with Chisel, as I'm getting him, the first thing as I was getting from him is he's very robust. He has almost like a very robust constitution, is the feeling that I'm getting from him. So obviously, we all age and everything sort of starts to fall apart, but I do feel like he's holding on pretty well. I don't know if there's like a thyroid thing with him that might be going on, or there's like a medication or a kidney piece, because it does feel like that is slowing down with him. But I do feel like sort of a strength and almost a strength of purpose with him connected to being with your family, because it almost feels like that in some way he's also sort of the watcher of the house, sort of looking out over everything. And of course, our animals are always here to sort of help us be the best version of ourselves. But certainly as I'm connecting with his energy, he's like, no, I want to make sure everything's okay. So he is sort of like surveying the house, making sure things are okay. I want to make sure you're okay and you're okay. So he doesn't want to leave until he sort of feels like everything is on the up and up, if that makes sense to you. But yeah, in terms of his health, I mean, again, I do feel like the deterioration piece, but I don't feel anything imminent. And I just feel strong with him. I feel strong with him. And he also appreciates all like the things that you're doing for him and that you're babying him. But it's almost like he's telling me, but I'm kind of embarrassed, because he almost doesn't really want to be taken care of. Like he likes it and he appreciates it, but it's almost like he wants to be the man of the house. Like, I want to be the man of the house. I want to make sure everything's okay. So when you're sort of caring for him, it's almost like an elderly relative that's always done everything for themselves, and now you kind of have to help them, and they're kind of like, yeah, I know I need the help, but I don't really want it. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from him, because he's like, I just want to make sure you guys are okay, and I don't want you to fuss too much. And that's why when you do all this stuff, the heating pad or whatever, he accepts it, but he's like, you really don't have to do all this for me. Like, I'm okay, as he might be limping along, because he just doesn't almost want to give into that. Like, does that make sense to you?
It does. Yeah, it does.
And so I would just, in terms of sort of his future, because that's sort of feels like where this question is going, just sort of keep an eye on him. But, many, many times our pets will hold on for us because they want to make sure that we're in a good place. Even if they're in pain or suffering. I'm not feeling that at all with him. I would just sort of monitor him, just sort of, regular vet checkups and that kind of thing. I do feel like he has more time because I don't feel like any quick drop off with him. So just keep an eye on him. But he's telling me that his greatest joy is to make sure that everybody else in the house is okay. And that he's very sensitive also. He's super tuned in to everybody in the house. And like, so if someone has a stomach ache or whatever, he'll go over to them and be like, touch them. And he's also a healer. It's interesting. I mean, I know all of our animals are healers, but there's something specific with healers with him, and also crystals. I don't know if you have crystals in your home. There's some piece, maybe crystals on his collar. There's some piece about the crystals with him because it's almost like, I don't know if in a past life he was a healer, but he does have that sort of healing property. He's definitely a very special boy. And thank you for sharing him. I want to make sure Winter has time. I know we've gone
Definitely.
over already.
Oh, he does run the house. Yes. He's in charge.
Absolutely. But that's how he wants it to be. So
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. He is, he's like the old lion, and he doesn't feel that the younger cats in the house can handle the job, and it's his job to keep the house safe. And I got to be, what they say, that the cats can see spirits and are not afraid. The cats are protective, for bad energy or whatever. Not that I love spirits, but when I used to come home, sometimes I brought home work with me, and I'd walk in and my dogs would see me and they would go whoop, and the cats would come walking in right up to me. So it used to crack me up. And I kind of feel that particular cat, Jan, he's the watcher. He reigns over. I think he does like the attention. Maybe he doesn't like having slowed down or that he needs medical help, right? But I do think he likes people to not fawn, but give him attention, because I get that lion feel from him.
Yeah, he's he expects certain things. Yes, he expects.
Yeah, I just feel like
he things, but he is not afraid of anything.
No.
He is fearless. It's unbelievable how fearless he is. He's not afraid.
Absolutely.
Of anything.
That's why I get him. I feel like a big old lion with him. The younger one should show deference to him. And he's not afraid of anything. He's not happy that it takes him a little bit longer to get up and stretch, than he did when he was 2 years old, that kind of stuff. But he doesn't want to leave because he doesn't think the other two are competent to take over his role.
Well, the younger cat is 25 pounds and he's 7 pounds and he pushes him around. But the other one is actually the dog that passed, and they were the buds. They were buddies.
Okay. Yeah, I kept hearing brother. Yeah.
Yeah, those were the two that were connected. So, but he is in charge of our house. But thank you so much. That was, you guys both got him down. And we just watch him all the time. We're like, he's 20 years old, and yeah, he's doing good.
God bless you both for how good he's doing.
Yeah, how long can people go?
So
yeah, they can go longer. Like I said, I feel he's very robust. I just feel a lot of, so just keep an eye on him, but I think he's okay for now. So
thanks for tuning in, sweetheart. It was good to see you.
Yes.
So just to would like to share a couple of our events coming up. I'm doing another one of these on my own with my guest is going to talk about scrying, and that will be Friday evening, April 22nd at 7 p.m. And he's fantastic. He's written 3 books. His Philip is going to be April 28th at 7 p.m. That's Thursday, April 28th, 7 p.m. Sorry about that. Philip Wyatt. And what he does is he captures images in smoke and water, and it's called scrying. And you can actually see images of animals. you can see images of loved ones, and it's quite fascinating. And he will give a quick primer on how you guys could get started if you want to try that. It's a spirit photography, I guess you might want to put it in, and it's Scrying. So he'll be with me April 28th. 2 days earlier on Tuesday, April 26th, I'm going to give a lecture at one of the local public libraries on Long Island, Amityville, but it'll be on Zoom. So if anybody wants to tune in, it's a free lecture, and I'll do a couple of readings on meet and greet your spirit guides. You do need to register with Amityville Library. And how about you, Mari? What do you have coming up, sweetheart?
Well, it's funny because I literally had to go on my own website to see what I have coming up. Because I'm like, I don't know. Sure, there's things. I just, you get to a certain age, my brain is just out the door. So yes, I do have a couple things coming up. I am going to be doing the Bridge Between Two Worlds radio show on April 19th. And the link should be on, my Facebook page or Instagram. It's April 19th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And we do talk about all things spirit and do readings. So feel free to tune in. It's through Blog Talk, but I'll post the link different places. And then I recently did a couple of podcasts. I'm waiting for them to come out. So I'm not sure about the dates of those, but I will be on the Intuitive Life podcast with medium Laura Wooster. And that's going to be on May 9th. And that is on the mindbodyspirit.fm app. I think it's an app or a page. I'm not sure. It used to be Unity Radio and it moved. But if you go to Laura Wooster or you go to my Instagram, it has the link there. So I'll be live on that on May 9th. And then May 12th, I'm going to be on the Dr. Kevin show, which is through Ohm Times. And that is going to be at 6 o'clock. These are all Eastern times. And I'm sure I have other things coming up. I just don't remember what they are. But those are a couple of places you can find me. You can always go to my website, mediummari.com. It has all my events. And it's also Medium Mari on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just type in Medium Mari, you'll find me. So yeah, but this was fun. And Winter and I have to pick the next date for the next show. I don't know if we did already, Winter. Did we pick it already?
No, because if anyone out there doesn't know, both Mari and I, in addition to doing this work, are moms. So Mari's been busy helping, especially her youngest son, was he the top 5 billiard player in the US? I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
And my oldest one is graduating med school, so I've been trying to help her relocate. She got a job at Boston Medical Center. So as the realtors were saying, we got to take good care of her because she may be taking care of us one day. So yes, do you know in Boston, darling, I know you're from up there, but apparently they have penthouses. And
wow.
We were going to look at a penthouse. Now, my understanding of the word penthouse is the top of a 20-story building. Their understanding of the penthouse is the attic of a 4-floor walk-up brownstone.
Oh, okay.
So my daughter's going to get a penthouse. It's the 4 flights because it's 1 flight to get to the common area, the common hallway, and then 3 more flights up, and it's the caved roof. And it's interesting. But anyway, so we are going to pick another date and we will post that on our social media. For my media, it's winterbrookmedium.com is my website. I do have a calendar up and running. If there's a problem, let me know, because we've just transitioned with computers. We're still figuring it out. And I have my Facebook page, which is open to the general public, Winterbrook Ryan. And I also have the YouTube and the Instagram, Winterbrook Psychic Medium. So hopefully I'll see you on one of those. We will post when we have our next date and topic. And I want to thank you all for taking time out to watch us. And God bless you all, and tap into some of those good astrological energies coming in, despite the chaos we are experiencing in our world and create something new in your life, to bring some more smiles to you that you can then share with others. God bless.
Exactly. Thank you, everybody.
So,
See you soon.